Hello, Namaskar and Adab to all my friends from your friend astrologer and guide Irfan. Once more with you from your very own channel, Astro Assurance. Saturn has gone retrograde a few days back and it has different denotations for all of us depending on which house Saturn is placed in your horoscope, which houses it rules, because we know it rules Capricorn and Aquarius as it is, we know about that, but which house it rules is respect to your ascendant, which house it is placed in. So those houses will obviously feel the effect of Saturn being retrograde, because Saturn will be retrograde almost till the end of October. So Saturn will definitely impact the house it is placed in and the houses that it rules. And now because it is transiting over the sign of Capricorn, so let's jump into understanding how Saturn's retrograde for different ascendants will give different results. Keep in mind that a retrograde planet's aspect is less important, it has less denotation in terms of what effects it will have, because from Capricorn it will obviously aspect the Pisces sign, for example, it will also aspect the Cancer sign, for example, and it will also aspect the Libra sign. However, the aspect of Saturn is less important, is of less consequence, but Saturn ruling which signs, which houses, which house specifically it has gone retrograde in, that has a stronger bearing. So let's jump into how Saturn's retrograde for different ascendants will play out different manifestations. Now those who are born in the Aries ascendant, Saturn is retrograde in your 10th house. So obviously it will have a bearing on your career, and it will also have a bearing on slowing down of results related to career, in terms of growth, in terms of promotions, in terms of any good news that you're expecting. At least for the next 2-3 months it will be stagnated, and you may have to be a little careful of your relations with supervisors, with bosses as well. Be more tactful, also be at your diplomatic best. And because from the 10th house Saturn is also aspecting Jupiter in the 12th house in the sign of Pisces, so those who want to go abroad or who are feeling that they needed to go abroad for the next 2-3 months, be a little careful of how you put in your papers, how you log in your papers, because accordingly the results may also come either late or sometimes it may even be turned down. So be careful of your paperwork, especially if you're planning to go abroad, applying for visas. And because Saturn is aspecting Jupiter, so the prosperity that you expect out of foreign lands, out of going to long distance travel, because Jupiter also rules the 9th house, so that will also be affected, because Saturn is retrograde, so its effect will be felt, but its effect will be strongly felt of career and regarding your social life. So being over trusting to friends or being over trusting to somebody in the social network, be a little careful. People who are working in large organizations may also feel the effect, where your growth, any incentive that you're expecting or promotion that you're expecting may also be stagnant for the next 2-3 months. So be at your diplomatic best, because if you are the one who is more careful, whose relationship with the supervisors are best, so then you may be selected over others. Then Saturn aspect on the 4th house, which means some property related issues may also come in. Don't worry so much about Sun and Mercury here, because Sun and Mercury are going to move off in transit in a few days, but 4th house of domestic life and maybe the health of either mother or somebody in the family may also be affected. And because Saturn is aspecting Ketu in the 10th house and Ketu is transiting through the sign of Libra, so relationship will also be under some duress here. So those people are going through a challenge at home in your domestic life. Please be careful in your marital relations, because Saturn may have an adverse effect on the relationship, including because Ketu is also transiting. However, for those people who want to get married and who are thinking, please take your decision now, but try and hold off your marriage till at least for 2-3 months until November, because that will be a better period and Saturn will go direct. For Taurus ascendant natives, Saturn is retrograde in your 9th house in the sign of Capricorn, so obviously gains will be under some duress, long distance travel will be under duress, under some pressure. And for those people who are students or who are in high universities or doing their higher qualifications like graduation or masters, they may feel some extra workload that they may have to do, some extra work that they may have to do, put effort in their exams and your preparation for exams, because otherwise this will take a or get an impact on your studies and even your results, especially because Saturn is also aspecting Jupiter in the 11th house, and Jupiter is in the sign of Pisces, which means especially for long distance travel, because Jupiter is placed in Pisces and Saturn is aspecting that, that may also get a hold on. So be better prepared, especially if you're planning to go abroad for education, because this may be impacted. Secondly, Saturn is also aspecting your third house, the sign of Cancer. So for some people, your communication is important because you may be misunderstood. Though Saturn is aspecting Mercury and Sun, however, these two will pass off on transit and they'll move into your fourth house. So the larger bearing will be on the third house of communication and the third house of effort. So your efforts may give you less fruits. So you'll have to put in harder effort to be able to get better results. So be prepared for the next 2 months to put in the effort. But when Saturn goes direct from being retrograde, that time you will get better results of it. And then Saturn is also aspecting Ketu in the 6th house in the sign of Libra. So those people who have a challenge in relationship may be under big stress, and for some people there may be even a break in the relationship if you're not careful, because 6th house is the 12th house to the 7th house, which has a strong bearing of Ketu and Saturn. So this is a stressful period for relationship, so be careful in your relationship. However, because Saturn also rules the 10th house of career through its ruling of Aquarius, and Saturn has gone 12th to itself and in a retrograde fashion, so some of your results may be delayed. So have good relationship with supervisors, work on the relationship with supervisors, especially on your team members, because that will have a strong bearing. However, this is a good period where higher qualification may also get you higher gains, because Saturn is retrograde but in the 9th house. So if you have just completed your qualification and applying on the basis of your qualification for higher posts or vying for higher growth, this may be a better period for you. For Gemini ascendant natives, Saturn has gone retrograde in the 8th house in the sign of Capricorn, while Saturn also rules the 9th house. Because Saturn has gone retrograde in the 8th house, but it is the Karaka of the 8th house, which means this is the time of change or transformation. So for some people, this is the time for change or transformation in your career, in your work, because Saturn is also the Karaka of your career and your work in your karma. However, Saturn also rules the 9th house, so this is a good time to do your PhDs or apply for your PhDs. However, if you're already doing your PhDs, so be very careful of what paperwork that you submit, because this may come under greater scrutiny, because Saturn has gone retrograde in the 8th house, which also denotes research. And Saturn is aspecting your 10th house and Jupiter in the 10th house, which means there may be some pressures connected to work, especially prosperity or abundance or high increments coming from work. This is less growth related, this is more increment related, better projects related and better remuneration related. So be little careful how you play your cards, because Saturn going through the 8th house in retrogression aspecting Jupiter, which means your growth may be put off by a few months. Saturn is also aspecting your 2nd house of incomes, which means that's why the money may be at a standstill, may be stagnated. And even for those people who are maybe in business, for them money may be stagnated for at least for 2-3 months. So be a little careful if you're giving money to anybody, loaning money to anybody. And then Saturn is also aspecting Ketu in the 5th house, so your romance may be under duress, romance may be under pressure. For those people who are going through a love relationship, be a little careful how you treat your romantic partner, because this being under pressure, the relationship being under stress, it may also lead to be a breakup. However, for those people who are not in the relationship, in a committed relationship, for them new opportunities may arise. Sometimes while you are already in one relationship, another may also arise, because of which it will have a test on your commitment to the old relationship. So be a little careful how you play your cards. For Cancer ascendant natives, Saturn rules the 7th house of married life, partnerships, teamwork, and it has gone retrograde in that house, which means your married life, your partnerships, your teamwork, your business liaisons all under pressure, because Saturn has gone retrograde, because of which number of results that you're expecting. So if you're thinking of getting married, put it off by a couple of months, because anyway Saturn will give you challenges or problems here, especially because Saturn's highest directional strength is also in the 7th house and it is also retrograde, so it is double impactful on your relationship. Similarly, be a little careful if you're planning to get into any partnership who you are getting into partnership, be very careful about the paperwork, be very careful about the documents that you are signing and what kind of conditions that you are accepting. And especially because Saturn also rules the 8th house of obstacle, challenges, problems. So this may also create sudden obstacle, challenges, problems in your shared property. Some results may come by it, or some results may also be under duress, especially if you have to deal in some shared property. So be a little careful. Saturn also aspects the 9th house of foreign travel, long distance travel and education. So people who are applying for high universities, they may feel there is some pressure. Some of you may not get admission in the best of universities, or you may have to even compromise. So be a little careful, especially if you're submitting your papers or you're giving examinations, because you will have to prepare better to get better grades here. And because Saturn aspect the Lagna, so health may be under duress for some of you, because Saturn being retrograde, which means it is pushing back your health, which means you need to be careful of your diet that you are indulging in. There may be some setbacks, and next 2-3 months you may also have some niggling challenges due to Saturn's aspect on the Lagna. And because Saturn also aspects Ketu in the sign of Libra in the 4th house, so for people who are wanting to set up their domestic life and getting married, their marriage may be delayed, or if you're planning to move into a house after marriage or move into a new house, that may also come under some pressure. So be a little careful of what kind of decisions that you take, and the health of a family member may also be under duress, maybe that of spouse or maybe that of mother. For Leo ascendant native, Saturn is retrograde in the 6th house, and because the 6th house is also the house of break in partnership, break in the marital union, and Saturn also rules the 7th house, so this is the tricky placement. So be a little careful, especially in a committed relationship, because this will put a lot of pressure, and if any activity is initiated here, then that activity may turn out to be more negative than positive. Though Saturn being the Karaka of the 6th house, it is still protective of the relationship, but this may come to bear on you in the long term. So be careful how you deal with your marital relationship, how you treat your spouse. And because Saturn aspects Jupiter in the 8th house, so some sudden issues, problems, obstacles, challenges may also come in, especially if you're planning to go abroad or you're working in MNC companies, some challenges may come from there. Especially because Saturn is also aspecting the 7th house of foreign distance, long distance travel, foreign lands, and Saturn is also aspecting Jupiter. So long distance travel or trying to settle in foreign lands or acquire a job may be put off for some time. So be careful of what kind of paperwork that you are putting in, because otherwise this may unnecessarily get stagnated and be put off for a long period of time. And because Saturn also aspects Ketu in the 3rd house of effort and communication, so you may have to put in harder effort to get better results, especially those people who are in business or who are running their own enterprise or consulting work. There you may feel some pressures where you have to put in work, hard work, or you may be missing some deadlines also, you may be missing some projects also. So be a little careful, because Saturn's aspect on the 3rd house and with Ketu place here, it also means you may get into some miscommunication, misunderstandings. For Virgo ascendant natives, Saturn has gone retrograde in the 5th house in its own sign of Capricorn, while also ruling the 6th house. Because Saturn has gone retrograde in the 5th house, so which here puts pressure on your romantic relationship, and this may also mean that you have second thoughts about whether you should continue in this relationship, whether this relationship is serving you or not. And even if you are deciding to continue in the relationship, the breakup may even be initiated from the other person. So be a little careful how you treat your romantic relationship, because this can be a big heartbreak out of which you don't come out easily, especially because Saturn also rules the 6th house. For some people, there may also be challenges from some competitors who are some other suitors in your relationship towards your partner, and so because of it there may be some misunderstanding which is created between you two. So be a little careful how you treat your romantic partner, and keep strong trust and be loyal, because this may otherwise lead to unnecessary and unsavory incidents. Because Saturn is also aspecting Jupiter in the 7th house, so this is especially important for women, because Saturn is placed in the 5th house aspecting Jupiter in the 7th house. So for some of you, if you are not in a relationship, it is not a bad time to commit into a relationship or give your commitment, especially if you have put it off for long, because then this can give you good results. If you put it off for longer, then it may come to bear on you, where the relationship may get stagnated, even be lost. For those people who are already in a committed relationship, be a little careful of how you treat your spouse, because this can have a bearing on you long term. Saturn also aspecting your 11th house of social life, so some of you will find that Some of the social engagements will have to be cancelled. Some of your social life may be impacted, and sometimes there may also be misunderstanding in your social relationship with your friends or even your family members, even with your elder siblings. So be careful how you treat that relationship, treat your friends, and what kind of work you're doing and how you're indulging in your social life. Especially if you're working in large organizations, be a little tactful with your supervisors, with your bosses, because then this could also stagnate your growth. Saturn also aspecting Ketu in your second house, which means your income, your remuneration may also get stagnated, and there may be a challenge in your growth, at least being put off for the next 2-3 months. So play your cards very well, show your utmost readiness, especially if you're vying for growth, because this may put pressure on your growth potential, especially if you're not ready. For Libra ascendant natives, Saturn is retrograde in the 4th house in its own sign of Capricorn, where it also rules the 5th house. So here Saturn getting into a retrogression in the 4th house means challenges related to property investments, repair work that may come up. Some of you may find breakdown in your vehicles, some of you may find sudden repair work coming in your home, new purchases have to be done, electronic appliances may be breaking down. So be a little careful, and if you require some maintenance, some cleaning, some sanitization to be done to those appliances, do that, because otherwise there may be some breakages or some breakdowns over the next 2-3 months. And this may also happen especially if you're planning to get into a relationship, a committed relationship, because Saturn also rules the 11th house and is retrograding in the 4th house. So if you're planning to get into a long-term committed relationship, then be a little careful who you're saying yes to and whether there is enough commitment on both sides, otherwise, because this may get put off if both are not on the same page. The health of somebody in the family may also be under some pressure, especially mother's health may also be under some pressure, because Saturn is aspecting Cancer sign and in the 10th house. So which also means any work related engagements also you need to relook at, you need to think, rethink, because there may be some challenges, some issues, some higher work pressures also from your seniors. Saturn aspecting the Lagna, and that to Ketu there means health may be under some duress, long-term plans, long-term goals may be under some duress. So be careful of what plans you are making. If you are planning any travel, and if you have any health duress, immediately get a checkup done, because this can otherwise turn even chronic. Now for Scorpio ascendant natives, Saturn is placed in the 3rd house while it has got into a retrogression in its own sign of Capricorn, while also ruling the 4th house. So from its Mool Trikona sign of Aquarius, it has gone 12th, though in own sign and as house of which it is the Karaka of the 3rd house, but in retrogression, which means your efforts may not bear you fruits as much as you are expecting and as much as you like, as much as you desire. Especially this is true for those people who are working on social media, or are writing, or they have to submit reports, or they are in a media facing marketing, sales environment, or even in business. So this may put a challenge on your work, in your work output. So be at your readiness best, because then only you will get results, especially because Saturn also rules the 4th house. So assets may be coming under pressure. Property related issues may get put off by some time, at least for a couple of months. Some repair work may also come in at work. Some repair work may also show up suddenly related to home, or some new appliances, some new things may also need to be purchased for the home. Because Saturn also aspects the 9th house, so long distance travel may be put off, or last minute cancellations may also come upon you. Admissions to higher universities may also be under some duress. Clearing of exams may also be under some duress. So prepare yourself for some exam. Prepare your documentation well if you are planning to travel abroad, especially because Saturn is also aspecting Ketu in the 12th house in the sign of Libra. So challenges may also come in from flying abroad, going abroad, working abroad, or doing well abroad. For Sagittarius ascendant natives, Saturn has gone retrograde in the 2nd house of income, remuneration, family, dependence, while also ruling the 3rd house of effort, communication, marketing, sales. So these two houses will be strongly impacted. Remuneration, livelihood, income may be stagnated. Incentives may not come in easily or on time. Salary may also get pushed off. For some of you, if you are expecting some increments to come in or some benefits to come in, they may also be stagnated or they may be delayed. So you will have to work hard to be able to get those out, and there may be communication gap, even misunderstanding, because of it there may be challenges or problems in your remuneration, your income, your livelihood, and also in your saving. And because Saturn is also aspecting Jupiter in the 4th house, so there may be expenses related to family or extended family. Health related challenges may also, because of which there may be some income which has to be spent. Your savings also have to be, the purse strings also have to be opened. Some of you may also invest in property or buy some property. So be a little careful where you're putting in your money, because sometimes it may also happen that you may have to end up paying double, or in fact extra monies may also have to be paid up if you are not careful of what documentation that you're getting into, or what repair work you're doing, or what purchases that you're doing, because some of the purchases that you do may also come bad, because of which you'll have to do some repair work. And because Saturn also aspects the 8th house and the sign of Cancer, so mother's health may be under some duress. However, because Saturn is the Karak of the 8th house, so it may not give you serious, but some niggling problems, health challenges may come in, which may require you to visit the clinic also once or twice. And because Saturn aspects Ketu in the 11th house, so your social life may be impacted, and gains, especially those working in large corporations, working in MNCs, they may also be impacted. And some of you may feel that your work is getting stagnated, the projects are getting stagnated, approvals are getting stagnated, and they may take a couple of months to clear, because Saturn will be retrograde till the end of October. Social life may be impacted, and there may be some misunderstanding with some friends and even with your siblings or family members. So be careful of who you say what to, because Saturn is going to retrograde in the 2nd house of family, extended community. For Capricorn ascendant native, this is a very important retrogression of Saturn, that too in the Lagna, which means some results connected to goals in life, higher plans, higher strategies that you have made for life, for purchases, or for health, or going abroad, or purchasing property, anything which is adding to your stature, your dignity in society, respect in your society, that may be impacted and they may be put off. So your growth, your promotions, partnerships, they may be put off for some time. So be careful of how you make your plans, who you share your plans, and who you're getting into a partnership with. Health is important because Saturn has gone retrograde in the Lagna. So if you don't take care of your health, then this may also give you challenges where some of you may even require hospitalization. Because Saturn also rules the 2nd house and gets in the retrogression in the 2nd house. So some of you may also have some challenges related to income, some challenges related to your remuneration from work, which may in turn impact your standing in society also. For example, if some of you are told to work for a lesser remuneration, lesser salary, or some of you are even asked to leave, or some of you are asked to work for not so value adding projects, so that may come by. So be at your tactful best with supervisors for managers, so that you're able to transverse this retrogression for the next 3 months better than the others. Because Saturn also aspects the 3rd house and Jupiter in the 3rd house, so some of your gains, especially related to communication, related to paperwork, related to some emails that you're sending, some documents that you're signing, may also be put up, especially because 3rd house is the house of communication. Those people who are in marketing and sales, for them also sales may come in slowly, they may get stagnated for some time. So you'll have to work harder to be able to get better results. And because Saturn also aspects the 7th house, so this is not the best of time to get into a committed relationship or to propose marriage to somebody. However, if you have been putting off something for a long period of time, then Saturn retrogression means then you'll have to confirm or go ahead with at least give a commitment, otherwise the relationship may also fall apart. Saturn aspecting Ketu in the 10th house in the sign of Libra, which means your relationship with supervisors may be under some duress. So work on your relationship with your supervisors, work on your relationship especially with higher ups, because your growth may get stagnated here at least till Ketu then moves away from Libra into Scorpio sign. So be a little careful at least till the end of retrogression, because this could have a bearing on your work in the long term. For Aquarius ascendant native, Saturn is gone retrograde in the 12th house in its own sign. Saturn is also the Karak of the 12th house, so this is not a bad retrogression. However, Saturn will put off if you're planning to go abroad, you're applying for visas for abroad, or you are abroad and you're looking for a new job, or you're applying for growth there, or you're expecting some better results. So this may get put off for at least next 2 to 3 months because of Saturn retrogression. Those people who are planning to move countries, move away from the place that you are in, or go to foreign lands, or to go from one foreign land to the other, or even come back to your country, home country, be real careful how you make your plans, because then those can also get postponed or can be put off. Saturn aspecting Jupiter in the 3rd house, which means your gains from remuneration, your livelihood, your income may also get affected. Your savings may also be under some pressure, because Saturn is retrograde in the 12th house of waste and excess and aspecting your 2nd house of income and livelihood and Jupiter. So your prosperity which the Jupiter brings expanding the 2nd house, that may also be under impact. And because Saturn also rules the Lagna, so health may be of some challenges here. Some of you may need to visit clinics, even hospitals, or if you are in foreign lands, there your health may also be impacted. So be real careful how you are planning to handle your health. Keep a strong, strict exercise regimen and watch what you eat, because Saturn is also aspecting the 6th house of enemies, competitors. So Saturn, while it will be protective of these not getting upper hand, but one of them may also trouble you. So one of your team members may also put you under unnecessary hassles, unnecessary mental tension. So be on your best of relationship with your team members and with colleagues. And because Saturn also aspects Ketu in the 9th house from the 12th house, so long distance travel will surely be affected. People who are wanting to go abroad for higher studies may also be affected, and those people who are applying for visas to foreign travel, for foreign permanent settlement may also get impacted. So be careful, ensure that your paperwork is done well before you apply. And lastly, for Pisces ascendant natives, Saturn has gone retrograde. Saturn has gone retrograde in the 11th house in its own sign of Capricorn, while also ruling the 12th house. So here Saturn's retrogression in the 11th house means a lot of wishes and desires that you are expecting to come true, or some results to come to you, either in relations or in your investment or in your friendships or with siblings, or if you are working for a large corporation, then be careful, because these may get put off for the next 2 to 3 months, especially because Saturn also rules the 12th house of waste and excess. And because Saturn aspects Jupiter in the Lagna, so while it is aspecting the Lagna, while placed in the 11th house, some misunderstandings, because of which your friendships may be under some pressure, your social network, social connection may be under pressure. So be very careful, watch what you say, who you indulge with, or who you say what to, who you deal how with, because that may also have impact for you, impacting your relation. Because Saturn is also aspecting your 5th house of romantic relationships, so there may be some connections, new connections which you develop through your social network, which may end up or show promise of romance. But if you are not careful, if you don't play your cards well, it may end up as soon as it started, because Saturn has got retrograde. So be careful what you say, who you say what to, who you are going on dates with, and who you are making a romantic commitment with, because that may not long last if you are not careful of how you handle the relationship, and who you say what to, and who you share that with. Especially because Saturn is also aspecting Ketu in the 8th house and the sign of Libra, the sign of relationship. So some sudden challenges, sudden pitfalls, sudden obstacles in your relationship, some sudden obstacles in your shared property may also come by, because of which some of your plans may be put off. So be a little careful, watch what you say, watch what you eat, watch how you deal with your social network, social life, because health and social life and romantic relationship getting into challenges suddenly is all denoted with Saturn's retrogression in the 11th house in the sign of Capricorn. So friends, now that we have seen how Saturn's retrograde in different signs belonging to different ascendants, especially because Saturn is also rules the sign of Capricorn but also rules Aquarius, which house it is placed in your horoscope, and which houses it rules in your horoscope, and also which planets it is placed in. If it's placed in yogas or some challenging placement, then this may bring in more challenges, more issues. So be more careful during this time. But Saturn, if it is in excellent yogas, then too their plan may be put off by 2-3 months, but don't be very disheartened, because after 2-3 months Saturn's direct motion will activate the same thing. But if you are rethinking on something, you are revisiting something, you are not deciding, you are hesitating to decide, then put it off for some time, because this may be a good thing that you do by putting it off by 2 to 3 months. So friend, like this video, share this video, and if you are looking for a personal consultation from me, please reach out to me at the links given below. Till some other time with some other video, this is your friend astrologer and guide Irfan signing off. Ciao.